Year 2 and welcome to week 5, day 3, and we're looking today at changing some of the parts of the Mouse or Cat that Mrs. Pratelli read to you on Monday. And I'm hoping that you've got the attachment on your computer that looks like this. I hold it there. Okay, it says the Mouse or Cat to change. And it's got the story that Mrs. Pratelli read to you on Monday. It's a short version of the Mouse or Cat story from the book, and some parts are underlined. Can you see if I just point there? All right, some parts of it have been underlined. And what we've asked you to do today is to change those underlined parts for a different animal. So not a cat called Mowzer, but a different animal, but you can keep absolutely everything else the same. All right, so we have done this before, if you can remember, way back when we did Funny Bones and the enormous turnip. It's a long time ago now, I know, but we're going to try and see if we can think of a different animal, but we're going to use the same rest of the story, if you like. So it's just that animal that's going to change, and we're just going to change the sentence openers, because you've been doing some work last week, I hope, on that, looking at sentence openers. So that's the two things that we're going to change. So on the attachment, you should see, I'll hold it up again, you should see this and the underlined words. So all these here are the ones that you're going to change, because they are sentence openers or they're to do with Mowzer. Nothing else is going to change. Now, if you were at school, because it's good writing practice, we would ask you to write the whole thing out, just changing the parts we've asked you to. But because you're at home, you can obviously do that, and that's really good writing practice, or you can just change the underlined parts for your new animal. Okay, it's up to you. Right, now the first thing to think about is the animal that you would like it to be. It can be absolutely anything, but you've got to know a little bit about it, because you've got to know what it looks like, and you've got to know the sort of things that it likes to do. So surprisingly, I'm going to choose an owl. All right, and I'm just thinking of a good name. I think Mowzer sounds a little bit like what a cat says, doesn't it? Mowzer. So I could call mine Hooty, or I might go for what it looks like. I might call it Fluffy. I'm going to have a cute little fluffy owl. All right, so mine's going to be called Fluffy. So the first paragraph, if I hold it up again. Okay, it says, our story starts long ago in a little village in Cornwall, and is one of cleverness, bravery and kindness. I'm thinking ahead of myself. So I'm thinking, well, the cat was brave and kind. What's my owl going to be? I think my owl is going to be clever, because I think owls are quite clever, and wise. They usually know quite a lot of things, don't they, owls? So I'm going to go for cleverness and wisdom. So if I'm writing it, I'm going to write the whole thing. Can you see that there? Oh, no, I'll start down a little bit lower there. Our story starts... So this bit doesn't change. Our story starts in a little village in Cornwall. Don't forget your capital C, because it's a place. Our story starts in a little village in Cornwall and is one of, and I'm going to change this now, so instead of being bravery and kindness, I'm going to have cleverness and wisdom. Okay, so that's the first bit changed. Okay, if we look at the next little bit here, Mowzer, and it tells you a little bit about Mowzer. Mowzer was an old black and white cat. Now, thinking about my owl, I need some colours. And is she going to be old or is she going to be young? I think I might have young. All right, so Fluffy, that's her name, was a young brown and I could have cream. Not quite the same as white, is it? Owl. All right, so that's my bit here. So instead of Mowzer was an old black and white cat, I've got Fluffy was a young brown and cream owl. All right, who lived unobtrusively, that's one of our special words we've been looking at, unobtrusively with an equally old fisherman called Tom. Now we're not going to change that because Fluffy's living with Tom, not Mowzer. Okay, so that's not going to change. With Tom, she, now you might not have a she, so you might have to change that because if your animal is a he, that will have to change, won't it? Okay, she was caring and loyal and cherished her quiet life. Now, she might eat mice because owls do eat mice. What else could she have? Mowzer's eating fish. I might do mice. Okay, so Fluffy was a young brown and cream owl. Let's see where I am. Who lived unobtrusively. With an equally, now he's not equally old, is he? So I can't write equally. I'm going to have to write old. With an old fisherman, because we've said Fluffy is young, so I can't write that. With an old fisherman named Tom. Okay, full stop. Oh, called Tom, sorry. Called Tom. Okay, next part. She, now I have got a she, but you might need to change it. She was caring, so that's not going to change. She was caring and loyal and cherished. That means really loved. That's one of our words. And cherished her quiet life. Now, Mowzer eats fish, but we're going to eat mice. Okay. Now, the next part of your one about Mowzer, all right, starts here. Now, we've got eating fish and sitting by the fire. Now, I'm thinking about my owl. Will she sit by the fire, or do you think she'd get a bit hot? Or do you think she might perch on Tom's chair? So I think I'm going to go for that. So she eating mice, I don't need a full stop there, sorry. Eating mice and perching on Tom's rocking chair. There, I can put a full stop. Because I wrote eating there, I'm going to have to put perching here, all right, so that the verbs match. All right, the next part that we've got is about Mowzer. She had had many kittens in her time, but they were grown up and gone. Now, owls don't have kittens. Owls have owlets. Now, if you've chosen an animal and you don't know what its babies are called, you're going to have to search that up. All right, so hopefully you might do. But owls have owlets, baby owls. So I'm going to change that to she had had many owlets in her time. Sorry. they were grown up. They were grown up. Now, I'm not going to just write gone. I'm going to say what they did. Their owls, they're going to fly away. But they were grown up and had flown away. Okay. Nowadays, Mowzer enjoyed her warm, comfortable house. Now, that's going to have to change because you haven't got Mowzer. So you could just write Fluffy enjoyed her warm, comfortable house, or you could change it. Fluffy enjoyed her peaceful, quiet house. I think I might do that. Oh. Nowadays, Fluffy enjoyed her peaceful, quiet house. All right, is it house? All right, yes. Which was in the little seaside village of Mowzer, so named because of the tiny harbour entrance. Mowzer was a tranquil place, we know that means calm, with coloured houses and busy streets, and the smell of fresh fish filled everyone's nostrils. Fluffy loved it. Don't forget to change that bit. Fluffy loved it. Now, the second paragraph is the one that we inserted before, the one that's got some extra details about Mowzer. And in this instance, we'll have to have extra details about your owl. So you need to tell us something else that you have made up. So if you've done a dog, you need to tell us something about the dog. Does it like digging for bones in the garden? Does it like going for walks? For my owl, I'm going to choose her children. I'm going to talk about visiting her children, because if you remember with Mowzer, she goes off to see her child who is in the pub, and she doesn't like that because the beer goes on her head, and she doesn't like the one in the vegetable shop because people tread on her tail. So my Fluffy is going to visit some of her children, but she very much disliked loud people shouting at her in the vegetable market, and she liked people ruffling her feathers even less in the hairdressing salon. So my owl babies own a hairdressing salon and market stall. I'll read that again. Fluffy visited one or two of her children, but she very much disliked loud people shouting at her in the vegetable market, and she liked people ruffling her feathers even less in the hairdressing salon. Okay, so I'm hoping that you're getting the idea of the bits that you can change. The next part is the build-up part, and it starts, all was peaceful in Mowzer until one day. Because if you remember, the build-up part is where things start to change, everyday life starts to change. So you need to change that sentence. All was peaceful in Mowzer until one day. So you could say all was quiet and calm, or everything was going along very smoothly until is a good word, because that means there's something is happening. So you can choose. So I'm going to leave it there because I really like to see what your ideas are. But have a look at the attachment, because the bits that you need to change are underlined, and let's see what you come up with. And I'll be really, really pleased to see the work. All right, take care. Bye-bye.